正直これにゴーサイン出た理由がわからん。
ていうか、なんでネギなんだ？
こないだ深谷ネギ食べてジンジャーエール飲んだら美味しかったんで。
ま、簡単な思いつきから出た商品もあるしな。
I like cocktails and I like sports, but only when it's cute anime boys playing sports and are way too intense about it. So today I'm making a recipe video out of one of my favorite sports animes, Salaryman's Club. Salaryman's Club follows Makoto Shiratori, who is a prodigy badminton player that finds himself playing for a company team with Sunlight Beverage. In episode 3 we see Shiratori trying to create a proposal for a new beverage idea he initially submitted. That idea being green onion ginger ale.
とりあえず進めてみますか。
Hell, I'm a devout How to Drink fan, so I tested the recipe and reached out to Greg from How to Drink. And, well, he called me some things that I'd rather not repeat here. Anyway, you won't believe it, but I found another brown hair, bearded white guy with a flannel who could fill the Greg-sized hole in my heart. Here's what you're gonna need. A bunch of sugar. We're using Turbinado Sugar primarily for this recipe because that's what I wanted to test. Any sugar should do well here. Regular white sugar might even be preferred. If you're following my recipe exactly, you're gonna need 600 grams. Ginger. Each of the two kinds of ginger syrups we are making require at least a pound of ginger each. It depends on how much volume you're trying to prepare, so keep that in mind when following along. We will be using a pound of ginger per syrup in this recipe. Green onion. I have no real defined amount of how much green onion you need, but I'd say grab a whole bunch if your local grocer provides them as such. We only need 8 to 12 stalks per batch here. Vodka. Vodka. This is the only optional ingredient, as you could really just make the recipe without it, but we watch sports anime here, so I kinda need to cope with that.
で、どうするんすか?
Alright, let's hop right into it. We're gonna take our pound of ginger, we're gonna roughly clean that to get any dirt and skin that we don't want on it. You could take the extra step to peel it, but you don't really need to, I'll be honest. We're gonna take that ginger, we're gonna cut that into large pieces. We're gonna set our ginger aside, bring our green onion over, we're gonna chop the green part away from the white bulb. We're gonna separate the white bulb off to the side, and take our green stalk, and chop that into small pieces. Returning to the white bulbs, we're gonna separate those into the two pieces, splitting them down the middle, and rub those down in olive oil and salt. We're gonna roast those for 15 minutes at 350, or at least until browned. Over on our stove top, we're gonna bring 300 grams of water to boil. We're using 300 grams of water because I'm using 600 grams of sugar. Essentially here, we want to get a 2-to-1 ratio for our first syrup here. We want twice as much sugar as there is water. Once you've combined those two, we're gonna note the water level there. This is gonna be important later because we're gonna be returning to this level of water after we've added our ginger. Now, we're gonna stuff our pound of ginger into our saucepan, stir that in, add in any water you may need to cover, and then we're going to let that boil until it returns to the original water marking. Once we're approaching that original water marking, we're gonna add our chopped green onion as well as the roasted bulbs at the last few minutes. We don't want these to stay in too long, but we want to definitely extract some flavor from it. Once the green onion is in and we've returned to our original water marking, we're gonna go off heat and take this entire contents over to a prepared cheesecloth over a bowl. We're going to strain any large bits, our green onion and ginger, out of this syrup, and then let the remaining contents cool. This is our ginger green onion syrup that'll be the component of our initial recipe. Starting on our second syrup, we're gonna need a blender for this one. We're gonna add a cup of water to the blender, and then from there, we're going to add handfuls of ginger until we incorporate an entire pound into this blender. Adding handfuls at a time and blending until combined. Once all of our pound of ginger is incorporated, we're gonna let that blend on high until juiced, and again, straining that contents out into a cheesecloth. And once we've strained that resulting juice, we're going to want to weigh it for later purposes. We have about 600 grams here. We're going to add that juice to a saucepan and bring it to heat. Once our juice is at heat and simmering, we're going to add sugar to it equal to 75% the weight of our juice. We want a sugar to juice ratio of 3-to-4. For this video, we will be adding about 420 grams of sugar to the 600 grams of juice. Stir the sugar in to combine, and then pull off heat and let cool before adding to a separate container. For our second syrup, we're also going to be flavoring our vodka instead of the syrup itself. So, to a cocktail shaker, we're adding 8 ounces of vodka, and then we're going to add handfuls and handfuls of chopped green onion. Shake that lightly and let that steep for about 5 to 10 minutes. Strain and store in a bottle. You'll know you've done it right when you get a nice green color out into the vodka. Finally, let's put it all together. For both recipes, we're going to use the same ratio of syrup and vodka. We're going to add 1 ounce of syrup to a Tom Collins glass. On top of that, we're adding 2 ounces of vodka. For our spicy ginger syrup, we're going to be adding our flavored vodka. For the sweet one, we're going to be adding regular vodka. Fill both glasses with ice, stir until they are cold, and top with soda water. Stir to combine contents, and then top with a crystallized ginger garnish, because this guy didn't have anything better. And with everything done, congrats, you've made a hearty ginger ale that's good with meals and seems healthy.
あと芸能人とかが SNS に上げてくれると認知度上がるよね。それ宣伝費的にはありがたいよ
これに合う料理作ってみるってのはどうだ？
な。料理系の配信も人気あるし、いけるかも。